Hey, it's Todd Duncan. Welcome to hashtag 2020 Gave Me. This is our 21-day experience where every day in just 10 to 15 minutes, hopefully as part of your morning routine, we're setting the stage for celebrating a gift today that 2020 gave us. The eighth gift that 2020 gave me is the gift of health. The first and most obvious influence was COVID, obviously, and protecting myself. I mean, remember yesterday's video about loving yourself and taking care of you, that if you do that and you're your best you can be great in the world in which you live. But man, we gotta own it, right? And so when COVID hit and I started looking at health, I knew I needed to protect myself. I needed to protect my family, those close to me. I needed to protect my employees. I mean, this health thing was a big and is a big deal. But larger than just loving ourselves loomed the reality that this was going to be a long battle. The virus, COVID, the businesses and personal lockdowns, the stress that would come from massively shifting routines. I mean, like, we're going somewhere. This is almost like Star Trek, in a sense, somewhere unknown, right? We haven't really been down this path this way. Lots of uncertainty. Grammy Award-winning and country music superstar Tim McGraw says the key to him being in the best shape of his life is movement. And I thought about that during COVID. I thought about his new book called Grit and Grace. It's probably 2 years old at this point. Such a powerful visual as he tells of his transformation, losing 40 pounds and being in the best shape of his life at age 50. And all of a sudden, he says, I had an epiphany. It was like the seas parted, and I could so clearly see how the work I'd been doing seriously for the previous 2 years, staying consistent and honing my discipline, was paying off. The vision I'd been working toward of best shape of my life was becoming a reality that I could continue to take further. My body felt good, my mind was clear, and there was a lot less falling off track than in years prior. I say how the benefits were rippling out into my career and my home life, and I could see where I was headed. It was a good place. I understood how no matter what unfortunate events, mistakes, or embarrassments had happened prior to that moment, I had the complete right to good health, and I could claim it if I worked for it. This realization came with a countercheck. It also was overwhelmingly clear that nobody could give that health away but me. Very powerful. Sir Thomas Buxton, an English member of Parliament, had a profound thought on the subject, which I memorized many years ago and continue to reflect on to this day. He said, the longer I'm alive, the more convinced I am that what makes the difference between one man and another, between the great and insignificant, is energy. That invincible determination, a purpose once formed, nothing can take away from. And I am convinced that anything on this earth that was meant by God to be done requires energy, and no training, opportunity, or circumstance will make any man without it. Here's the simple truth. When you feel good about you, you are more and more unstoppable. The better you take care of you, the better you will be at everything. And I mean everything. I believe that health is the gateway to greatness. I also believe that in the midst of COVID or any times of uncertainty, that health, both mental and physical, will allow you and me to rise beyond where we are in almost every facet of measured success and personal or professional productivity. I mean, I really believe that. I came across a report that gave some real clarity around health and wealth. Published by the CDC, this national survey correlated health with wealth and wealth with health. And the report opened with these 3 data points. The greater one's income, the lower one's likelihood of disease and premature death. That is why I'm so big in our company on really teaching people the exchange between time, which is the great gift that is never going to change, and labor and what we're getting out of that. Working hard is not as profound as working intelligent and smart, and working for 10 years to do what you could do in 3 years. It's not really smart, or 40 years in what you could do in 10 years. So at some level, the greater your income, the less likely you will have disease or premature death. Studies show that Americans at all income levels are less healthy than those with incomes higher than their own. Not only is income, which are earnings and other money acquired each year, associated with better health, but wealth, which is your net worth and assets, affects health as well. One of the statistics had to do with self-reporting. On one end of the spectrum were adults earning less than $35,000 a year. 22.8% of them reported fair or poor health. On the other end of the spectrum were adults earning more than $100,000 a year, and only 5.6% of them reported fair or poor health. For clarity, I'm not assigning any attachment or impact that is COVID related. We know what that has done to businesses, employment, and people who have had unexpected financial impact during the pandemic. If anything, it speaks ever more importance into what I'm saying here. The next set of data is where it really gets interesting for me. With these two ends of the same spectrum, those earning less than $35,000 a year and those earning more than $100,000 a year, measured sadness, hopelessness, and worthlessness. For the less than $35,000 a year, 6.4%, 4.6%, and 3.8% reported these feelings respectively. Sadness, hopelessness, and worthlessness. For the more than $100,000 per year, 1.2%, 0.5%, and 0.6% reported those feelings respectively. Okay, much lower. We also know that more money doesn't guarantee happiness, but if it does guarantee mental health and more physical health, and your purpose and your priorities are right, then we're in pretty good shape, pun intended. So back to Tim McGraw and Sir Thomas Buxton. Health and its resulting energy are partners in success. They are a force that overwhelms fatigue, overwhelms doubt, negative thinking, complacency, status quo, and settling for average. And in the COVID world, they are even more necessary. They are more necessary to create this unrelenting counterforce to what the pandemic has done to everyday living. I'm a cancer survivor. In conquering cancer, and I am cancer-free, I had to get in the best shape of my life. There was no option if I wanted the best odds of staying alive. And I did want to stay alive. Remember the gift of love? It took 1 year, but required an all-out commitment every day and even hours during that day to overtake the habits that I had prior to my treatment. And in that process, I lost 65 pounds. I got back to my high school weight and waist size, but more important than the outside impact was the inside. Every profile you could measure in heart health, body fat, cholesterol, oxygen, blood profiles, everything fell into excellent categories. I'm not bragging at all. I had to do it, and I must do it. It was life or death, and it remains for me one of the great counterbalances to health. The better shape I am in physically, the better shape I will be in mentally, and when your physical shape are dialed in, you will have the ability to conquer adversity. So maintaining this is a daily decision. I eat right. I try not to eat anything with processed ingredients like sugar and preservatives. Every once in a while, we'll do cheat treats. I lift weights 3 days a week with a trainer. I ride 150 miles a week on my bike. I walk up and down the 2-mile hill in which my house rests with my wife regularly. I take the stairs instead of the elevator. For me, and I imagine for you, having the daily disciplines to gain and store physical and mental energy is a game-changing decision. I feel all these, but don't take it from me. Take it from the Mayo Clinic, one of the world's leading health providers. Here's their take on why this is so important. They talk about the benefits of regular physical activity. Exercise controls weight. Exercise combats health conditions and diseases. Exercise improves mood. Exercise boosts energy. Exercise promotes better sleep. Exercise puts a spark back into your sex life. Yep, that's from the Mayo Clinic. And number 7, exercise can be fun and social. So, here's the question of the day. What's your game plan today and forever to be in your best shape possible? It really is, and I believe this, it really is the question of a lifetime, literally. The decisions you make about your daily game plan for health will determine how long you live on this planet. And I believe that is a worthwhile question to answer.